Okay, hi there, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Teesside Business Podcast. Today, we're lucky enough to have Ben with us from Ulysses CrossFit. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm good, thanks, and thanks for having us along.
Oh, thank you very much for coming. It's always a great pleasure to have anybody on, especially like within an industry that is quite as new as CrossFit, even though 10 years is still quite young in the world of business. So we'll get right into it. If you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to starting up a business in CrossFit and owning your own gym.
Cool, yeah. I'm ex-army myself, so I've been out about 11 years now. That's where the whole fitness journey started. And ever since leaving the army, it's been just where I've been working in the world, doing engineering jobs and stuff like that. I've trained people for free. I've trained sports teams, individuals. Just like I say, it was just out of passion, really. I never thought about making money out of it. When I got into CrossFit 4.5 years ago now, obviously fell in love with the sport and I thought this is something I'd really like to invest in myself. So I sold my house and risked everything to start a business.
It's a big step.
Massive step. Yeah, scary. Obviously, it is. Yeah, it's everything I've ever earned and.
So it must have been, like you said, that you've only been living in the area for a few years now.
Yeah.
So was it down in your previous area that you started CrossFit and things like that?
Yeah. I started a CrossFit box that's not around anymore now.
Oh, right,
in the Seaham area. Yeah, that was one of the first in the North East. Yeah, so started there, then moved to Glacier in Washington, and then I came down here at the start.
Did you first open your first gym in Washington? Or was
No, I've just trained elsewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've worked away. I was an engineer offshore and. I'm working in mines and this, that and the other.
So what made you pick Teesside to...
Well, there's no one in Middlesbrough.
Yep.
There's no CrossFit box in Middlesbrough. And obviously it's got a big population.
Yep.
And the biggest thing was the health aspect, with... Probably, let's call it the takeaway capital of the North, or if not the UK.
You're certainly not far away.
Yeah, and CrossFit's about fixing health, so it's a great place.
So for everybody who's like, I'm sure most of the people who are listening have probably heard about CrossFit in some form or another. But for those who aren't educated on what it is, what exactly is CrossFit and how does it differ from regular training and things like that?
Cool, yeah, that's the biggest question we always get, isn't it? Yep. What is CrossFit? I'll put it in CrossFit terms and I'll put it in English, I suppose.
Yeah.
So they define it as constantly varied, high intensity functional movement, which basically means, because it's constantly varied, it's different every day. So there's no routine, really. High intensity, most people will understand that. So it is high intensity, it is hard training physically. Functional movements are going to help us in life. Being able to pick stuff up on the ground, climb, pull, jump over things, run. So it's not something they've created. It's been around since we grew with arms and legs and started moving around. But he has defined fitness. He's been the first person, Greg Glassman, defined fitness.
Yeah.
So which is great. So he defined it as a number of things, and that's been the biggest thing where no one had it, and we can, or not only defined it, but we can test it.
Brilliant.
And that's what's about testing things. So for the average Joe blogs from the street, it's we add quality to all the training we do. Everything's very structured. You come in, you do a warm up, you do some mobility and flexibility, which is a massive part of it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to maybe a normal gym class, they may not have the knowledge or they just don't add it in. We see a massive part of flexibility is going to be a massive part of people's lives. You'll do some strength training. A workout and then you'll do a cool down as well. So it's all very structured. You fit everything within an hour. So
it's a very good way to look at it, I suppose. The main difference between that and just a regular gym that people go to is a lot of people still don't know where to start. Not so much that is it's not so much, I suppose, about knowing what to do anymore, but there's so much information out there that it must be confusing for people to start and they don't know, is this the right thing for them? Is that the right thing? So having somebody to help them along the way is brilliant. So what kind of is your main kind of clientele? Is it a specific, is it ex-forces like yourself? Is it young lads? Is it old businessmen? Is it a mixture of everybody? Who are the main people who you would find in your business working out every day?
I would say every different affiliate is different, but I was we're one of 14,000 CrossFit affiliates in the world roughly. But everyone's different. But where ours is everyone, it is like the Joe blogs. It's from at the moment we have everyone from a 15-year-old girl to a 65-year-old guy,
fantastic.
And that's quite range. So it is nurses, your mums, and things like that. So there's no one that's not included, even included people that are injured. So it's
fantastic.
It has to be broad range. So some places might go specific, but it's got to be broad range for us. I want to help people get healthy, get fit, and that's everyone. So
absolutely,
which is good, really.
Just going to knock that off for some strange reason. It's just not working. So for those who aren't aware, obviously, like CrossFit is a global brand. You know, there's I think you mentioned that they currently have an event that happens every year called the CrossFit Open.
Yeah.
And I think you said, was it 500,000 people you said went to this year?
Yeah, expected this year 500,000.
Yep. So for those who aren't aware, being a CrossFit gym is an affiliate program.
Yep.
So what benefit does, like, for people going there with thinking about starting CrossFit in a way, what benefit does it have of going to a CrossFit gym versus going to someone who is not necessarily a CrossFit affiliate but still, say, a CrossFit gym with inverted comments?
So the people that obviously are not affiliated and they do similar training, it'd be functional fitness.
Yeah.
So I'd still doing functional movements and stuff like that. Just from personal experience of, you know, going on testing the waters and things like that, and being in a PT myself, that it's structure.
Yep.
Structure and community is the biggest thing for us. We're if someone that doesn't understand community, it's about you walk in the door, you got friendly faces who come out and you get to know each and every one in my CrossFit box. So it's a box and not a gym. We differentiate that. It's we all have a member's photo on the wall. You can go and say who the new members are. If you see a new face, you're going to go say hello. And our community is, we have a social event together every month. Could be barbecues, could be like we've done charity events and things like that. So every month having something together, that draws us all together. Comes from the forces, I think, and just my personality is that we all get together and do something together, and then it humanises people. It's not just you went to a spinning class for 15 years, sat on a bike next to someone, never spoke to them, don't even know their name. You know who the people are, you know the kids' names. You know each other, and you socialise together.
It's a really important part, especially in Teesside. You know, like a sense of community is, you know, really strong in the northeast, especially in Teesside. And, you know, and people do get together a lot for, you know. I still remember when I used to live in North Ormsby and stuff. They're still having street parties and things like that. You know, so I suppose that is a great thing to have, and like building communities around fitness and things like that.
Massively.
So speaking of like a little bit on fitness, it is like, you know, I imagine a busy time of the year for you. January, New Year, New Me, everything kind of that. What would be your advice for people who, like, would you have like any general advice for people who are looking to start getting into health and fitness, or just making a change and just trying to be a bit healthy, really? You know, we're bombarded all day, every day with things on TV, you know, the latest fad diets, you know, the media, etc. You know, how would you simplify it and give people like tips for it?
Just do something, and then it's getting consistent. So it doesn't matter whether it's, you know, obviously it's down to people's situations. Everyone's different. So maybe you have no money, so you go, you know, you just start running 3 times a week. Just try and make a habit 3 times a week, and everyone says the whole, you know, do something 21 times or 20 something times. You're going to start building it. It's about building habits, and it's a great habit to have. So along with any fitness, not just CrossFit, it's going to be, you know, you're building your confidence, you're going to start feeling better about yourself. And then when you start to see results, you think about improving your nutrition, maybe. And then if you put them two together, and that's where the magic happens. In all fitness, really, it's just about consistency in nutrition, sleep.
A massive part of
exercise. So,
oh, that's fantastic. So we'll get a little bit onto the business. After all, we are the Teesside Business Podcast. So we always like to ask people, when they very first started business, what kind of hurdles did you first find that you weren't expecting in business? Are there things that you would maybe advice that you would give to other people looking out for? Like what things went really well when you first started, and what kind of little things, you know, was a bit unexpected, or what did you struggle with?
I mean, location was always a problem. You know, I looked over the Stockton and Middlesbrough area. So location was trying to find somewhere that was right for us. So you think about transport links, and then obviously you've got the cost of the building. I've got a big place, you know. So I took a massive risk in taking a big place. Just having self-confidence in myself and what I believe I wanted to build. You know, because the CrossFit boxes can range anywhere from a couple of 1,000 feet upwards. And so most of them are small. We took a big place on, big risk. So that was the biggest thing. That was a scary thing. Not knowing. The unknown, I suppose, is everything. So.
I suppose.
There's the money, you know. They obviously just bigger setup fees, just you know, with the councils and this, that, and the other things I didn't expect. But you can't plan for everything.
Did you have a lot of like hurdles with the council and stuff? Like when it comes to setting up a CrossFit box, was there anything special where you needed like special licenses or insurance or
plannings and things like that? So again, it's just not knowing about that, how to go about it. Not knowing anyone in the area to help us out. And
I suppose if you're being the first, then you're the first person to kind of traverse through these things.
Yeah, because
thing.
Where we are is right on the edge of the Redcar border, so we're actually classed as Cleveland Council. So it's,
okay.
You know, I just believed all of Middlesbrough was Middlesbrough Council.
Yeah.
That's not. We're right on the corner of the area, so we split.
I suppose it's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. That was I was really happy. It's in between Redcar and right on the edge of Middlesbrough. For anyone that doesn't know where we are.
So if I magically had a time machine, which I did, what kind of things would you do differently if you start again, or what? More importantly, after that, what kind of things would you keep? Would you do again?
Yeah, I'm sure there'd be loads. I think would have more capital behind us at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, because that soon runs out. Doesn't matter. I think it's like, I don't know, watching Grand Designs. Everything always goes over budget.
It does.
Everything ran over budget, and then obviously you can't predict growth rate.
No.
Even though CrossFit isn't massive, I brought CrossFit to Middlesbrough. The problem is no one knows what it is.
Yeah,
so it's like a double-edged sword. You know, it's great in one respect that there's no competition there, but no one knows what it is. So it's for our job is to teach people the value and what we do and what we're offering differently.
Yeah.
So that was a.
So when it comes to that, obviously that's marketing essentially.
Yeah.
You know, teaching people either where you are or what you're doing. So I imagine it was very different for you compared to other businesses. So if we were opening a bar or a restaurant, everybody knows what a bar and a restaurant is. Yeah. You just got to tell people where you are and why you're slightly different. So how did you go about educating the people of Middlesbrough what CrossFit was and you know why they should do it? What kind of unique challenges did that pose? We went old school and went for some flyers just within the immediate area. Okay.
And then we had an open day, got people to come along and some people came in and tested out. It was that day. We brought some people from other CrossFit boxes so they could
brilliant.
They could join in. We did some sort of free workouts and just having a general chat about things.
Yeah. So is it a good community between the other boxes and things like that?
I think some can be, depending on.
I suppose it's a human thing, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely unique. Yeah. Depending how close people are, depending how you know other boxes and things like that. So some are close, some are not. But that's just business.
It is at the end of the day. So what kind of stuff what plans have you got for the future then with
lots at the moment, yeah. So
what kind of things? We'll start it now. What kind of stuff's happening at the moment?
Yeah. So we've other than just progressive growth, and we're offering a 3-month trial to everyone that wants to start, which is awesome. It's quite unique because then we have a problem of trying to get it out there to people. So the best thing I can do is give it away, and then I'm going to show you the value. So you get a month I'll show you the value. You'll either love it or it's too hard.
They're the options.
I think they're the two options I've seen to come to. Yeah, because it is hard work.
It is, no doubt. But I suppose you get what you put into it at the end of the day.
It is.
It is quite a unique thing, that, especially within your industry. There's not many, I know you're not a gym, but within the health and fitness industry, there's not many people who are prepared to give away,
not
free monthly.
That's it. That's my gift to people, really. Yeah, I want to show people what we offer, very unique to other people. But at the moment, we have just trying to grow generally. We bring in a nutrition program.
Okay.
And I've started a non-profit weightlifting club there as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which has been received great. So that's my other little project. So again, that is I've run both. That's Middlesbrough Weightlifting Club.
We are due. We have a weightlifter on. A girl who's just recently qualified for the Commonwealth Games to go over to Australia. Yeah. So Kelly's coming on the program that we can't wait for.
Cool. Yeah. I know Kelly.
Yeah. So. I noticed as well, obviously, we had a bit of a look at the website and everything before you came on. Just one thing I want to highlight with our listeners is that you can do pay as you go, and there was no contracts involved. Was that correct? Yeah. Which again is very unusual. Places normally want to sign you in for 12 months and things like that. Yeah. That says a lot to the faith that you have in it. That you give people the ability, and also forward thinking. That. Things might happen in people's lives and stuff like that. And, that flexibility is something that I imagine that they really appreciate. So when you first came to Middlesbrough and setting up a business, how did you initially find business in Middlesbrough? One of the things that obviously we all do businesses is the great thing about Teesside is that we all do business with each other. It is a very, we're all each other's suppliers at the end of the day. So how did you find it? How did you go about finding those suppliers? Anything that you wish that could be a little bit different, how we could do things a bit better in Teesside or anything like that? We're always looking to grow.
I love the people in Teesside. It's been great. That's one of the biggest things. They're like where I grew up, working class people. So obviously because all the steel works and everything that's gone in the past, they are the same sort of people that I've grown with. So just fitting in really well. And same with the businesses, really. Everyone's really friendly. the main people I really use is a company to do like t-shirts and things like
Oh, yeah,
clothing and stuff, you know. So,
Yeah, you can give them a shout out if you like. If you want.
it has changed hands, and so I think they have closed down. And
Oh, right, okay.
One of the guys who worked there, he started his own company now. So
All right, that's good.
AMG Design now, so I use them. Great guys. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Free shout out for
Cheers,
it for him there. We always like to support startups and things like that.
Yeah, he's recently started up, so.
You know, which is another thing that we talked about on a previous podcast, which I always think is well worth mentioning, something to be very proud of in Teesside, that we do have like the highest number of startups in anywhere in the country, which is, you know, we're down to a few options and things like that, but I think it's one of the greatest things about Teesside at the moment. So moving on, what about things for the future? What kind of things are you looking for? More locations? Is it more equipment or specialised equipment, or, you know, things like that?
I would never put more locations out the idea really, but not just for focusing on what we do. Trying to do what we do now better. Trying to reach more people. Our place could hold at least a couple hundred people in membership wise. So reaching things down at the grassroots, so kids stuff. Especially with the weightlifting, we're going to be doing, or I've already done a whole sort of 6 to 8 months work with Macmillan Academy.
Oh, fantastic!
Which, you know, I've got myself a good name with that, and now Redcar and Cleveland Council have given us some money to do some schools project.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's going to start with one school, see how that goes as a pilot. And then we're going to build from there, really. Yeah. So it's going to be taking weightlifting, CrossFit, or both to kids.
Oh, is it teaching them like correctly weightlifting and things like that?
Not even obviously just it's going to be flexibility. And human movement will then turn into weightlifting and other things. So it's like if you just think gymnastics, we're going to take that in. Human movement, good human movement, that will then lead into great fitness. And weightlifting.
It is something that when it comes to the education system, that we are quite far behind like our other countries that are our neighbours and things like that. Like America, for example, for their high school athletes, and most high schools have strength and conditioning coaches, you know, for their teams and things like that. Even higher at college and university and stuff like that. Where it's quite rare to find, where you don't find it in, you know, PE teacher, I suppose. But again, that's a broad thing and not, you know, strength and conditioning. So if we're going to produce like the next generation of athletes and to compete at that level, then we need to act like them. So plus giving them those ideas about what, you know, proper strength and conditioning and nutrition, everything is, you know, starts at the school level. Is it something that, you know, there was a big thing and it continues to go, as Jamie Oliver getting involved in school meals and things like that? Like, is it something that you'd like to try and get involved yourself with, or have it any input?
I want to massively make a difference in the area, and it started from being a kid. Back when I was growing up, so I'm 35 now, it would have been growing up in pit villages and stuff like that. I would have loved to get into gymnastics, but it just wouldn't have been the accepted thing at the time.
Oh, no.
Not at all. But now things have changed. You know, gymnastics, weightlifting, things are around now, and if we can get that to the kids at the right age, then their potential 10 years later to go to the Olympics, national competition, or just at the grassroots is people, you know, bringing down obesity rates, and people are healthier. Keep them out of trouble is another thing.
That's a massive thing, you know,
massively,
especially when it comes to sport and things like that, to prove and help, that kind of thing.
It is, we've just again for the weightlifting club, we've just been granting some money from the police commissioner.
Oh, brilliant.
So I am getting out there and trying to do loads of community stuff. So it's going to be, we're going to run a kids stuff, kids program this year for the whole entire year. Kids will get 3 months free. So it's going to be bringing them in and doing weightlifting. So
fantastic! And are those courses full, or are there still places available?
No, we haven't even placed them yet. We haven't even announced it.
Right, okay.
This is the first announcement. The first announcement. We've been given some money by Police Commissioner, like I said, and it's going to be the next few weeks. We're going to launch a program.
Oh, brilliant!
Once we've got some extra kit that is suitable for kids, and it's going to be around a whole year project. So if people are interested in getting people strong, getting flexible, and just great posture from a young age.
Especially when it comes to, you know, the 6 weeks holiday, people are always looking for, you know, programs to do and things like that, and that's really fun. Especially the weightlifting, I imagine a lot of kids will, you know, find that very rewarding and fun to do.
So I mean, it's basically replicating what we do at the moment. So we had our money from Sport England of recent, and we run basically the same thing for women. So we've had a great response. We got ourselves in the Gazette, and that was awesome. We've had loads of women maybe just not got the confidence to go and train in normal gyms.
I can understand.
They don't know what they're doing, and building confidence and competence in all the movements, and then, even if they don't stay with us, they're not gonna know how to lift and just keep yourself safe, improve posture in the long do it, and move it, and just have a bit more confidence. So the two projects we're running, women's project and kids project.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it does sound like you've got quite a bit of support from the local area. Which is, you know, one of the great things about Teesside is that, you know, there is that support available. I just know, speaking to Kelly the other day, she's just got support from the Teesside Philanthropic Foundation.
That's right.
You know, and helping her and things like that, which is absolutely phenomenal. So when it comes to like the local authorities, as much as they've helped you, was there any changes that you would like to see them make when it comes to helping other people? Or, I know there was a whole thing in America where they were on about taxing sugary drinks and stuff like that. It's the takeaway capital of the world, the kind of thing. Should we, let's be honest, should we be, it is a capitalist side, but should we be limiting the amount of takeaways that open? Or should we be looking at, is it an education thing? What kind of stuff can, businesses do to help everybody be healthier?
Obviously, it's where do we start? It's got to be in the schools, I think, is education.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I still think the model the NHS use for nutrition is wrong.
Yeah.
So we need to change that. We need to get it down to school level. And then change from there, but also the parents.
Yep.
Not just them, but obviously the parents are going to be feeding them at home. So
yeah,
it does start at home, and it also starts at school. So it's a balance of the two. Can we do some personally, I'd love to develop an online coaching program that would teach parents and kids. I teach people on a one-to-one basis, but why couldn't we do that online? Make it simple at the beginning, and make it like something where you pass, you get a
foundation course.
Yeah, a foundation course. Yeah, you could then make it cheap and accessible. The council, I'd be happy to get involved with. We have a dietitian on board as well, which is my brother's wife.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we'd love to get on board and help that. Taking an online program these days would be the best way to reach people.
Oh, that's brilliant. I know that I'm sure she's still there at Macmillan. Kelly Rose, she runs a health week there once a year at Macmillan, and that's brilliant. I know they get various people in from all different kinds of, not just from sport and nutrition, but she also, from health and wellness and everything. That she gets a wide variety of people. So
we do. We need to catch up to other parts of the country, and certainly follow what America are doing and Australia for their health. We look at what they're doing, they're 5 years ahead. They have obesity problems, but in the health and wellness centre, they're just years ahead.
Do you think that we need to get to that tipping point that they have before it'll actually start happening?
I think so, yeah. But it's good. Sport England especially helping us, not just ourselves, but a massive investment in just weightlifting and other sports at the moment is really going to help.
So for those who aren't familiar, what does Sport England do? Is it just helping people like yourself, or do they do a wide variety of things, or do they help anybody else in the local area? What is it exactly that Sport England do? Sorry.
I'm not, obviously I don't know everything about Sport
of course.
England. Only that I know that I've applied for money for them and went through a long process of it was great that they've granted us some money to do a project. But for what I know, it's like sports all the way down to grassroots football, whatever it is, and helping clubs survive. So it's about sports clubs, ours is a non-profit sports club, so it's about helping non-profits set up that are going to go all the way from grassroots, but all could go all the way to grandparents and things like that. So it literally could be any sport. You go online and apply. The different grants and different pots of money to go in for, and they are willing to.
That's fantastic if they're willing to invest. So one thing we always like to ask everyone coming on, especially you mentioned earlier that you'd done charity work and things like that with your socials. One thing that a lot of people do in Teesside, but they don't shout about it themselves, is the work that you do. So we kind of force people to talk about it a little bit. And you should, for the great work that you do. Everyone should know about it. So what kind of things have the gym done in the past, and what kind of stuff are you looking to do in the future, maybe?
Cool. We'd like to do a charity event every few months. So we've done a few. I'll try to go back. So what we're in now, February. January we did the same last year. We did basically a charity event for ourselves and raised money for the food shelters, which is obviously very rewarding. And we took it down this time. I took a whole car full. They were blown away. I think last year we got 275 kilos.
That's awesome.
Which they said at the time was bigger than what Tesco give them.
Yeah.
So it was great for our little internal community. Yeah. This time, unfortunately, I took it to the wrong centre. They couldn't wait, but it was a whole car full.
Yeah.
They were massive.
That's fantastic.
It is. Yeah. I think it's again pretty bad for homeless and people that are just not even homeless. People that get caught by benefits and stuff like that. I'm explained, so it's great to help them out, So.
It is, and it is a problem that we are facing in the local community. That's fantastic. Have you done it? What kind of stuff are you looking to do in the future then? Is it more of the same? Or?
More of the same, yeah. We're going to do a few, We've done one for Macmillan.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so everyone's been affected by cancer.
Yeah, they are.
My mother passed away last year herself.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be, again, that's all. I believe a lot of it's driven down to health, so that's where we can help out as well. So improving people's health, lifestyles is going to be reducing chronic diseases.
Yeah.
So, we've done a few. They're the main two I can think about. We're going to just try plan a few a year.
Yeah.
Because it's good to give back, isn't it?
It is. It's phenomenal. So when it comes to the members themselves, are there any success stories that you would like to share with people in Teesside? Do you obviously? CrossFit has like a large, community. A lot of people do health and fitness, but there's also like obviously it is a sport within its own right. With many professional athletes. Do you have anybody that competes or any success stories, etc.?
I wouldn't say anyone's success in the sort of competing maybe, but it's just success stories personally for the members of weight loss and things like that. So,
which is fun.
Some people have lost like sort of 5 stone. But the biggest thing for me I brought it and especially for myself is getting women into it. Because it's like, again, going back to you walk into somewhere, it's intimidating. So I want to make it a little intimidation as possible. As soon as you come in the door, someone's going to come say hello. That's just that someone's going to look after you. They're going to. I use like what I call a buddy system. Where someone is assigned to look after you. They volunteer to do that, and they'll look after you for the whole entire class, maybe a week, maybe a month until you are feel settled in, and then later on down the line you'll pass on the same to them. So that's important. I think that comes from the forces, but
But that's great, taking things from like one area of our life and applying it to the other, and things like that is incredibly important when it comes to health and fitness and walking into a gym for the first time. A lot of people could look at it as a negative way. It's full of people who are already in shape. They're thinking, they're looking at them, I don't really know what I'm doing, etc. To actually have somebody say, look, like we've all been there. We've all like gone through what you've gone through. Look, this is like a community. Let's help you and get.
It is.
Get it all together.
I would say that was a problem for most gyms, but especially what we do, because we walk into a class environment, we're all doing the same thing. People just think, I don't want to be last, I don't want to be the unfittest. But like I just say to people, you need to start. Because it's always I need to lose weight before I do this. I need to do this before I do this. You just need to start. You need to get in, and we'll look after you. So
that's fantastic. So what kind of stuff? Like obviously you touched briefly on there. Your time in the forces. What we've noticed a lot is a lot of people do come out of the force and end up starting their own businesses. Why do you think is that trend? Is it things that they teach in the army that transfer well over to business, or?
I think obviously discipline's a good thing as well, but I think for myself, just being a forward thinker, you want to do things your way, and sometimes working for other people just they don't deliver it.
I can imagine.
And again, I'm just trying to find an area where people don't do things, and my personal interest in nutrition and fitness, so trying to take both of them into, like I say, not just individuals but schools and like charities, anywhere we can really. So
it's fantastic. The good thing about Teesside is that we are getting more and more like diverse things about with health and fitness. There's yourself, there's weightlifting clubs, there's many different martial arts gyms and stuff. We were just talking previously about the new ski centre that opens. That's going to be a really great thing, not only for health and fitness, fingers crossed, but also bringing a lot of work to the area and things like that. Is there any kind of things that you've seen in other cities or towns that are health and fitness related that you would like to see in Middlesbrough? We were just, for example, just in London this last weekend doing an event with somebody, and the amount of healthy eating places in London versus up here is just like phenomenally different.
Good, you remind us, I suppose. We could definitely do that, even if it's just we're never going to get rid of takeaways and that they are all businesses themselves, but it's again maybe some education on their background, and changing just some of the ingredients they use and the processes they use could make it a lot healthier. So
there's a few tweaks to things that they use, like chicken kebabs, etc. A couple of like few little tweaks, and then you do have something.
Exactly. We're not massive way away from it. So it's just education, and then but I suppose that's down to their core values as well. So that would possibly be a hard thing to sell to businesses. Exactly, because everything obviously costs money. But it's going to be. I think education is where we start.
It is,
and then at least people have the choice, and it's all about balance. We're all going to have takeaways, and it's going to be part of our lives. And we, I'm doing myself, but it's all about balance, and things need to be in the 90% healthy range, and then we need to enjoy our lives and live it normally.
I think that's a really good point to mention with a lot of people, because a lot of people think it does have to be like an all or nothing,
no.
And it has to be sustainable for people's lives, otherwise that do fall off the wagon, so to speak. A lot of people think, oh god, this means I can, if I join this gym or start doing this, then I can never have a pizza again, or I can never have a pan more, and that's not necessarily the case. It's like having that good balance.
Well, pizza's a perfect example. I know we've got a great place in town. I personally like Barbarossa.
They
do sourdough, so a little bit better, easier on the gut, for example, than a normal dough. So just simple change that.
It is
easier on the gut.
I think it's having those options, and educating people over those healthy options is a good thing. So you mentioned briefly that the model that the NHS uses on nutrition, you think is a bit outdated.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Obviously, we don't want to offend anybody who works for the NHS. The NHS does a phenomenal job, etc. We just, just after people's opinions.
It is, yeah. I mean, they have sort of the whole diet laid out on it, and it's like, I can't remember exactly what their model they use, but it's too high in carbohydrates. And things like that. For starters, we need to balance it out, and things have changed. People still think that cholesterol's bad, and they're still scared of eating simple things. So it's like, again, we've got into almost old wives' tales that people still believe. And again, comes down to education. So that's where they need to drive it. But again, it's down to money at their end, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But in the same respect, if we fix our education on nutrition, like the amount of money the NHS spending obesity now is insane. Yeah, so if we can make people healthier, make them make better choices, then it costs us less in the long run to
as the
treat sick people.
Just
get away from treating people with medicine. And treating them with, let's call it, functional medicine now, which is actually food.
I think it again comes back to balance that you talked about before. Back in the 80s, the media portrayed fat was terrible, and everyone stopped eating that, and cholesterol, etc., no eggs. And then it moved on to carbohydrates for a good while, and then that was evil. And now they're starting to publish more and more stuff in the media saying that protein is bad. And they're the only three things you got.
They're all the three macros you got. Unfortunately, what happens with the public is you say something's bad, so they go to the extreme. You say something's good, and they'll go to the extreme. For example, we all know fruit's healthy for us. But having too much fruit is not good. Because we just raises our blood sugar levels too much. And it affects other hormones like insulin and stuff. Again, we seem to go and we take information and go
all or nothing.
All or nothing, which is not good. But everything should be the word balance. It should be about balance. And the best three diets in my personal experience really is paleo, is zone diet, and ketogenic. And somewhere, either one of them or all the way somewhere in between. Let's not label it anything. A clean diet would consist of something like adds balance.
I think it's a good thing again, like going back to the community and things like that. They do want somebody to be honest with them, and unfortunately, most of the information that people are putting out there is in order to sell them something.
It is,
and that's the same within any industry. You know what I mean? People try and give value, and then obviously make a living out of it. I think it is good to have somewhere to come on and say, look, like we're, the truth's kind of in the grey area. This is kind of, balance is what it's all about. If you come in and say that you had a beer yesterday, we're not going to throw weight plates at you till you cry. So what kind of stuff are we looking for in the future for CrossFit? So what kind, especially for CrossFit Ulysses, what kind of stuff have we got coming up in the future? What kind of stuff would you like to see in the short-term future and the very long-term future?
We'd like to obviously be able to reach some more people, because in doing that, we're going to affect not just them but their families, so their environment. So if we can affect one person, whether your mother, father, or even down the bottom end, the son, it's going to be then easy, simple things that people can take home to take to their families. So it could be, for my biggest three things, the nutrition movement, especially posture. So all the stuff we give you, I'm always talking every day about posture. People just sitting up straight. Unfortunately, our jobs that we affect us, we're leaning forward. If you're working as a nurse, you're a bus driver, you work at a desk, and we're always reaching for stuff. So we're getting, the muscles are getting tight on the front of the body, and that means the muscles on the back are weaker. And unfortunately, they're the ones that actually support our body. So we need to sort that out as well. So it's a big thing of posture. So,
and that does cost, even from a business perspective, costs businesses a lot of money. End up having to get like ergonomic chairs and things like that. There's a big trend at the moment for standing desks and stuff like that. I've even seen like treadmill desks and that for some people, etc. So there is like, even this is a business podcast, and we've got to look at things like the health of your employees and the people that you deal with does have a direct effect. If they're not healthy, they're going to take more sick days. Take more sick days, cost you more money, goes down in productivity if they're not fit and healthy. So what kind of stuff can we do as business owners to ensure that our staff are healthier and happier? Obviously, nobody wants to put a gun to anybody, but what can we kind of do to, help that to, not only make them happier and healthier in their own lives, but from a business perspective, how much money it would save businesses.
Oh, you're right. There's loads of businesses in that. That's it. So that's one of my plans I want to launch for the future, is again going to businesses, and it'd be starting at the top, teaching people education of you need some strength training, improving your posture, and again that's always going to be down to just reduce back pain. Simple fixes that we can do at the top end. If I would be happy to go into businesses and do some little basic seminars and quick fixes. And again, we're going to go down to we're going to go too far by using standing desks, because that creates problems as well.
Yeah,
and again, it's not about standing or sitting, it's about balancing and moving. And again, so every 15 minutes, getting up, doing some basic stretches, and not having your boss breathing down your neck because he thinks you're skiving. But that's going to be maybe like the Japanese do. They're on the roof doing yoga. We're maybe not going to get something like that, but having it promoted at work, we already do manual handling. Why not have some stuff about posture, about keeping yourself right? And if companies take that on, we teach them in the local area, which again, I'll be happy to go and do. Then that can be done very cheap for maybe whatever it's going to cost for you to go in once, twice, 3 times. 3 short seminars, not going to cost too much of their time. What it's going to save them is sick time is going to be it's going to be amazing. And again, the same thing you could do about nutrition. You may go to a company that's got 200 people, 1,000 people. You can reach people all in one go. And that's a lot of people there.
It is.
So instead of going into advertising and stuff, you can capture however many people work at that company, whether it's 5 people or 1,000. You can capture all them there and give them all the information, and then they'll sit and listen. So.
Even down to like really basic stuff that can help companies. I've seen a paper published the other day, and it said that if you get less than 5 hours sleep a night, you are 75% more likely to contract the common cold when you come in touch with it. How many people take days off with a common cold? And say I've got the flu or whatever it is, it takes 6 days. But how many people are overworking the staff and they're going home stressed and unable to sleep?
Absolutely right.
And that kind of thing. Like a work-life balance is something that's really important. Do you think we get that right in Teesside? I don't think it's bad at some places, but I think it is getting worse than.
I think we need to fix it. It's again, we could go down to movement would be one, so posture would be one. That's going to reduce back pain, because that's always going to be a problem. But just even down to nutrition, but other things that I haven't really spoken about, and simple things to do. When I personally teach people to do it myself and do it myself, as a good example is some of the things we could do, like making our own probiotics. So people may or may not have heard of kefir or kefir. I personally make it, and we get some of our friends and clients and family to do it. Cheap to buy, cheap to look after. And we can make our own at home and look after our gut health by putting good bacteria in ourselves, and not we can get stuff off the shelves that isn't half as good. And we could make it, you can buy it for less than £5 and look after it for a couple of pounds a week. It's just bacteria that you look after. And that's going to be something everyone can do. That's very affordable. And again, it's just for a simple piece of education, whether it be the companies would then again reduce simple things like goals.
It's something that a lot of businesses look at, from a business perspective. Everybody looks at costs and weaknesses and things like that. I think that health of staff is something that they don't look into as much as what they should. You mentioned that Japanese people, there's a big culture in there, because they had in the 80s, I can't remember what it was called, but they actually came up with a word for it where people literally worked themselves to death. And there was actually a name for it.
Stressed. So basically, the problem is we're all of us now, and it's all the developed countries, we work too much. We're too stressed. We're looking at bright lights all the time from computer screens and phones and stuff like that. And we're basically messing up all our anatomy. We're making our adrenal glands just constantly drip adrenaline all the time, and we burn out our receptors. Everyone's, I think, probably heard of fight or flight now. And that's something we need to fix. We're always in that fight mode. We're always, we don't think but we're stressed. We're stressing our bodies too much. Our body can deal with stress, but not constantly. We burn out our receptors and they don't work anymore. And just simple things like I take herbal supplements for it. So not medicine, herbal supplements, go back to nature. Things that come out of the ground is generally good for us. So simple herbal supplements we can take to relax ourselves and just uptaking things more like magnesium, going to help us sleep better. And then we're not immune compromised, like you said. It's perfectly right. If you don't have it,
obviously, being stressed is something that's massive in the business community. I don't know any business owner that hasn't said that they've been stressed at one point or another, either constantly stressed or go through periods of stress. Turning off as business owners, this is something we talk about in our podcast, like work-life balance and how to achieve it. It's something that's very hard for a lot. Obviously, it's on people's minds a lot of the time as business owners. Have you got any other tips that help people like de-stress, relax, turn off, like help them? Obviously, we've talked about staff, but what about business owners? Like, what kind of stuff that can they do? Not take the mind off the business, because that's never going to happen, but help them, turn down the volume a little bit, if you will.
Cool, I practice it myself. I've had to practice it because, again, I've experienced that. The stress and the worry of it all. But I like to meditate. So,
it's something that's getting bigger.
It is, certainly, even things like sleep meditations has helped. Really help. But meditation is a big one, and everyone doesn't understand what meditating is. They think it's still a bit of a hippie subject, but it's not. It's just you focusing on your breathing, and that will allow your mind to clear itself. Maybe like when people go for a run, they feel like or just doing any fitness really, it clears the mind because they're not focusing on the problems. They're focusing on how heavy the breathing is or how hard things are, and that respite for your brain is amazing. So meditation's one of them. Certain supplements, like say magnesium, things like that as well. But
was that a sleep aid that you talked about?
Yeah, magnesium we won't get anywhere. It's not an expensive thing, but it's going to be writing a journal as well. Writing down at the end of every day what you've done well. What you need to do tomorrow, and then that will just naturally clear your mind. So that's something I've started to do. Just have goals.
Is that like for all aspects of your life? Or
all aspects of your life. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss. He's the man that got us onto it really. And just
we've got
brain dump.
Latest books behind you, I believe. Tools of Titan should be in there somewhere.
The next one I need to read.
So. Well, I haven't started it yet personally. But
it is. It's a journal. It could be that could be anything in life. Maybe you just have 4 headings. Something I've done really well. Something I could do better. What do I need to do tomorrow? That sort of stuff, and it could be simple stuff, and that'll go into all aspects of life. Could be from all the way from school level to business owners, especially business owners. But so we've all got so much on our mind.
I think that too, especially for children and things like that, the factor of what have I done well is very important. We like focus quite a lot, and again in business and things like that, you sometimes don't sing about your wins as much as what you could have, which is why we try and force people to on the podcast a bit, because all they do is see mistakes that they've made, or there's this that I didn't do, or this that hasn't worked. We want to. I think that is, give people, like, from the start, from when they're very young, self-confidence, can't say, this is, it is a balance thing. I do things well, and it's the same for everyone. And I do things badly, being able to recognise and improve from things like that. So when you first started the business, is that something where, did you, write a business plan and follow it through? Or did you have a rough idea of what you wanted? Or if you didn't, would you go back and do one?
I would definitely do it, like say plans and stuff. I was a bit of a winged it a little bit, so
just go.
Yeah, just all go and rushed it a little bit. Maybe if I went back, I would possibly still do it the same, because if I thought about too much, I would have been too scared and maybe backed out. Sometimes you have to just take that leap. If you have, I did my numbers and things like that, which I got wrong, like you do, but it's predicting. But it's you as an idea. What are your core values? That would be the biggest thing for me, is just setting core values as soon as possible, and that's going to give you the driving force of everything you want to do. And then again, just setting goals.
I think it's a thing that like a lot of businesses. One of the things we've been talking about previously is that exact thing, that your values stay the same as long as you go back to them, but your goals can change and be flexible around them. So I think that a lot of people, like, I know some people might call them a mission statement or whatever it may be. I think it's something that we could all do better to focus on, to be honest, and keep them more mindful. We were just at a client this morning. They've started, it's quite similar, but they were like got quotes that they've had printed up and put on the wall. They just buy members and stuff, but having the values up and things like that, I think could be something that's really good. So is there anything that we've covered so far that we haven't talked about, or you would like to mention to the people at Teesside?
I think it's just going back to the sort of getting more women into fitness and sports and things is a big thing, certainly this area, I think. As well, so
I think there's still a bit of a barrier there when it comes to weightlifting, that all women think they're going to become ridiculously jacked in 2 seconds as soon as they pick up anything heavy.
So maybe they're using the wrong terms, and they think it's fitness as well, so people still use the word toned. Doesn't really happen. We just get rid of fat, and it just takes up more volume in our body. So when we get rid of the fat, we sell muscles, if you know what I mean. So very few people ever get bulky by doing it. So and then defining what different sports are as well.
Helping people, what's healthy and stuff like that. And let's be honest, the media and women's media and things like that, it's a rigged game to start with. There's been a lot of stuff coming out very recently about how much people have photoshopped, not only in magazines but on Instagram and things like that. And secondly, like the diets that they do around them, they're probably saying these things to sell a DVD that they've got coming out, etc. So having somewhere that they can come to and get honest advice, because you want them to keep coming back to the gym initially. So if you don't have a contract, if they don't do well and don't enjoy it, they won't come back.
Absolutely. So that's it. We have to really.
You're invested in their success.
We're invested in them, their families and their children as well, and their health.
Which is a great difference to a normal gym. You sign up for 12 months, they get you 12 months worth of money whether you succeed or not.
That's it.
And the great thing about community is it helps everybody succeed. So
they run a business model where they maybe only get 20% turn up. They want as many sign-ups as they humanly can. And obviously they don't know anyone that trains there. Where ours is, again, that it is a CrossFit box. It's different. We want to, we could be massively successful with somewhere between 100 and 200 members.
Yeah.
And we could personally know everyone.
Yeah.
Run things together and keep a small niche community within ourselves.
Yeah.
And then them 100 to 200 people are going to affect, like I say, the kids, their family, their friends, and things
Just
as well.
ripple effect, isn't it?
The ripple effect, yeah. So it is. So it's building just mini communities throughout the area and stuff like that. But ours, we want to take it down to grassroots, like I said, kids, schools, colleges, and I've also started talking to some charities and stuff as well. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's listening who thinks, that they'd like to take you up on your free offer and the trial for a month, where's the best place for them? Either find out more about CrossFit Ulysses or, book to come down and see you.
Yeah, cool. Just go on our website, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is?
I'll get this right, CrossFitUlysses.co.uk. And on there, it's just free trial. So you just leave your details. That's data capture. So it's phone, name, and email. And then
fantastic.
I will personally message you back.
Brilliant.
So I'll tell you if you have any spaces and when they are available, and I'll personally sign you up.
Oh, fantastic. So, and the same for any organisations or businesses who are listening, who would like you to come in and talk to their staff. Is that the best place for them to get in contact with you?
I would be happy to take phone calls and emails about businesses and schools and stuff. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, Ben, for coming on the podcast. This has been episode 3 of the Teesside Business Podcast. The Teesside Business Podcast is promoted and produced by Person to Person Marketing. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.